And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ask Me Anything show by JVology. I'm your host, Krista Inikovsky, and I am happy to be here today, as every week, where we bring in amazing guest experts from our JVology community, and super happy to have that fun, dynamic, powerful, take no baloney, powerful woman. Virginia Musquez is here from St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going very well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Virginia is known as the Referral Diva, amongst some other badass names.
Less kind names, maybe?
No. You are you're fantastic. Like, you have this like edge that I could only like hope to have, but I like to hang out with people like you.
That's right. We all wish we could do like Pilates the way you do too. So you know what I mean? Like we all envy. It's interesting how we all we fault ourselves for other people's strength. Like I'm like, you're beautiful and talented and strong and fabulous, all in your own Krista Inikovsky way.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Well, great. We're going to have fun. The cool thing about the Ask Me Anything show is we encourage any of you that are out there, if you're seeing this on the JVology pages or on the J at the Set page, to type in Scott's there. Scott's watching. Scott Conway. Scott with a T, saying hello, brilliant lady. So thank you so much for tuning in, Scott. I'm going to run our awesome JVology intro and kick this show off the way it should be.
Right.
Here we go. And it is official. Here we go.
All right.
Yes. All right. The Referral Diva. That is you.
Yes, that is me.
You've been at this like networking and teaching people how to show up for themselves and how to relate for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Give me a little background about how all of this came to be.
Well, so I'm by trade, I'm a Spanish teacher. So, hola.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah. So, but I've always been kind of an entrepreneur at heart. My dad was entrepreneurial and built his business pretty much by word of mouth and referral, actually by cold calling and prospecting. But back in the day, like in the 60s and 70s, there weren't fax machines. There were, you just went wherever you were going and knocked on every door, right? It was like the encyclopedia salesman thing. So, when I was a kid, I sold all kinds of stuff. I raised money for food pantries and I don't know, just all kinds of crazy stuff.
Did you go door to door or?
Yeah, I was like the little sales chickie. I love selling Girl Scout cookies and I love selling beach towels and whatever was being sold, I was selling it, and I loved selling. And then I went into teaching because I always really loved teaching. And nobody ever told me that sales was a career that you could sell and make a living. Most of the time people just told me to sit down and shut up. And so now I love it because now I stand up and speak for a living and get paid. So to all you naysayers.
You know what? I want to dive into that even more.
Yeah.
Because I think that's just incredibly both interesting and an important conversation to have. As you know, I do work with teens and encouraging, empowering teenagers to have a voice and have confidence. And so for you, if you can share more of your story of what that was to be, I mean, you're naturally outspoken, which is a gift and
a curse.
Well,
depends on the circumstance, right?
I think it's the way that adults, especially, a few generations back, I don't know if hopefully it's changed a little bit now, but it was like, well, especially if you're a girl, just sit down and be quiet and do your work. Don't stand out. Don't be unruly. Don't have an opinion of your own. What was that like for you?
Well, I think the really interesting thing here for me has always been that I couldn't sit still and I couldn't shut up. I am a classic example of ADHD. It's not that I have the attention span of a flea. It really is like, if I'm really into it, I can go total flow and lose track of time and whatever. But if this is stupid, if the thing in front of me doesn't hold my attention, doesn't doesn't interest me, I'm like, right, I can't focus on it. And my mouth goes. And my daughter has this too. It was really funny. We ended up in second grade sort of taping off the area around her desk. And the teacher called me and said, I need her to stand all day. Is that okay? And I was like, I don't care if you have her hop on one foot, as long as she learns how to do reading, writing, and arithmetic. And she was like, no, it's like if her butt hits the seat, her mouth starts talking. And you take her butt off the seat and then her mouth is quiet. And then you put her butt on the seat and her mouth starts going. So I figured if I just take away her chair and she can kind of move, right? I'm positive pushy. Positive pushy. Thank you, Sharon. That's hilarious. So, so I learned I had a hard time of it, right? And my first grade teacher, Mrs. Korosik, bless her heart, may she rest in peace and may we not encounter one another in the hereafter, literally put me front and center and put duct tape on the front of her desk and said, so can you keep your mouth quiet or do you need to tape it up today? And I was like, right? Because I knew I couldn't. And at the time that didn't feel like bullying, but today it was like, you look back on it and you're like, wow, that was some trauma. But I was more talkative. I was very opinionated. I was always right, for sure. Like at 5, I was always right. Like I know a lot less now at 55 than I did when I was 5. But so yeah, it was tough. And I really did spend a lot of my life trying to conform and like trying to climb into the bird cage. Yeah, well, just trying to climb into the cage. But I mean, I'm 5'2" and 120 pounds of huge. Right. And there's
a Minnie Mouse of like, power.
And, it's interesting because when I get on stage, right, and I speak and I do my thing, and then I get off stage and people are like looking down at me because I'm so small. They're like, I thought you were a lot taller. I'm like, well, the stage is 2 feet off the ground, but still, and they're like, no. Like, it's just, you're big. Your
presence is way bigger than your body.
Than my body, right? And so then try to like suck that in and shove it into it wasn't easy. And so, back to kind of being the referral diva, I've always kind of wanted to connect people and I've always wanted to have friends and I've always wanted to create my friend group and I wasn't very good at it and didn't have a whole lot of social skills. And joined BNI, Business Network International, in 1999. I was a Mary Kay beauty consultant at the time because Linda came over and said, if I signed up and she signed up, Julie would win a car. And a woman in need of friends does not say no to that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, it's $180 for friends. That's cool. Right?
Because I'm curious because I think direct sale network marketing is awesome. Tell me a little bit more about that for you. Like,
I never wanted to sell anything to anyone. I was a PhD student. I psychoanalyzed fictional characters and reported my findings for discussion, for Pete's sake. If you'd like to know about Jane Eyre's sexual agency, we can have another show about that.
So that's what your intellect.
That's what I was doing
here. So everything for you was about
being smart,
education, being smart, and analyzing. So did on any level it kind of feel like I hate to even use the word, but kind of dumb it down a little bit, like now I'm talking about?
Do you know how many times I've been told to dumb it down, which is fine, but that's not really what it means. So make a note and let's talk about that in a minute too, right? No. So what happened was I discovered we all have these like little soul wounds, right? Like these places that, and I discovered that one of my biggest soul wounds is to be seen because my parents didn't see me, right? I was supposed to play by myself. I was supposed to go outside and play by myself. I was lonely. I was very lonely and I didn't have a lot of friends because I was too smart and too big for my britches. And looking back, I'm like, I don't blame them. I wouldn't have wanted to hung around me. But I didn't have a lot of social skills and I was lonely. And so what I found in Mary Kay that was really great is, first of all, the women that had built their careers in this were beautiful and they were in their 50s and they were beautiful and they wore elegant clothes and they held themselves with so much grace and style, and their teenage children just loved to be around their mom. And I had little kids and I was like, look, if I can look like that when I'm 55 and my kids want to hang out with me, like if I never sell anything, I'm going to hang around these people because you become like the people you hang out with, right? Yeah. Well, I'm 55. How'd I do?
You did great. It's working.
Right. And my girls love me. Like we're besties. We love hanging out together. So, but what I found was that I really enjoyed the attention. And so you only get attention and you only get clapped for when you sell something in network marketing, right? Like, so I had to be successful in order to get the accolades. And so even though I had no intention of ever selling anything to anyone, because those two things were like, I am a university professor selling lipstick. I thought my dad was going to like lose his crackers when I told him, you're doing what? Right? Like, I could be a Mary Kay lady and win a Cadillac.
Do you have a competitive streak, Virginia? Like,
yes,
did the competitiveness, when you saw the potential of like, if I grow a business, I could get a car or a trip or the prizes, did that fire you up at all?
So my competitive nature and this is really one of the reasons that I loved the Mary Kay organization was Mary Kay had two kinds of recognition. One was the kind that anyone could have, and all they had to do was meet the criterion. Right? You wanted to win a diamond ring. This is what you did to win a diamond ring. You wanted to drive a car. Here's what you do to drive a car. And there were no limits on the number of rings they were going to give away, the number of golden bumblebees, there was no limit on your ability to win cool stuff. Right? Now they did have like number 1, number 2, number 3. I never compete on I'm number 1. That's not where I like to compete, because I was bullied as a kid, and that feels really bullying to me. It feels like somebody's being left out, or somebody's being excluded, or somebody's being stomped on, and somebody doesn't get to go to the reception, and somebody doesn't get to go to the party, right? So anytime there's an opportunity for all of us to win, then I am on that like Donkey Kong, right? But when it's the reason to compete is so you can be number 1. So when I'm in a JV contest, I don't play to be first on the leaderboard. I play to win whatever the cool prize is. And I JV for a couple of people. I'm going to have them remain nameless. And I don't know if they do it for anybody, but I'll periodically get the call and they'll be like, hey, I know you're not on the leaderboard, but if you got like 10 more opt-ins, I'd give you like this sexy phone popper thing. And I'm like, okay, I'll get it, right? Like, they totally know how to leverage me. Like, they know I'm not going to try to beat Christian Michelson, on the leaderboard. Like, I'm not even doing that. But like, they'll be like, I will give you this cool pink pen if you get me 2 more opt-ins.
Knowing your JV partner is just as important as knowing your customer.
Right. So, that, I don't even know where we were going with this. It was sort of always being about the referrals and sales and stuff. And, what I realized when I joined BNI was that it's just more fun with friends. Like, life is more fun with friends. Business is more fun with friends. You can make more money making money with friends. You can help more people with your friends. Like, you can have your community. My JV manager, Scott Conway, teaches this Ohana way, right? Like, it's, Ohana means family, and nobody gets left behind, and everybody gets to be running forward. So that to me is really the gift of entrepreneurship, and why I enjoy it and why I like connecting. And for somebody who's kind of already an intuitive connector, the brain chemistry of it is really interesting, right? So somebody says to me, hey, I need some guests for my show. And I said, well, tell me what kind of guests you want. And they tell me, and I'm like, oh, how about Krista? How about Jay? And then it's like dopamine high. Like, you just get like really like win pings. So in that regard, I'm competitive. I really do like the little, I'd be one of those mice just like pushing the button, just pushing the button.
Get more.
Pushing the button. So
yes. What I love so much about about community, about the joint venture community, about what you do with referrals, is entrepreneurship can be really lonely. It can be isolating. It can just like bring up every self-conscious limitation, every fear, every lack can show up, and being a part of communities or just kind of learning how to do better, but you're still participating in your business by yourself, I think is the cause to a lot of failure. And so having communities, having this relationship building, it brings the fun out and it brings you connected. And we don't have to be in the same business, but the fact that we're doing business together, now we're enjoying each other.
Right.
And what that means. And my gosh, when we all get together in person, we have a ball.
It's, when people right now are like, you can't build relationship online. I'm like, you can't. because like that's how I do it. And then we're like, wait, you're gonna be at blah blah blah. I'm gonna be, oh my gosh, we should have a glass of wine, right? Like, but we can be friends with people for 2 or 3 years in the online space, and then coincide at some other event in some other community, and it's like it's like we grew up together, right?
Yes, it's so true, and I love that. And it's face to face. You're talking to each other and having real conversations. And a big part of that, and I know you're great at this, is talking about the other stuff that's interesting in your life, not just about the business, right? It's not just an exchange of what you do and what I do, but it's like, who are you? What do you like? Like, I didn't know this whole Mary Kay story. Like, that just adds a whole nother level of interestingness.
And I sucked at it. I maxed out 3 credit cards and like sent myself spiraling into bankruptcy. And if it hadn't been for my dad who like wrote the check for that, I'd have been screwed. Yeah, it was on my 40th birthday. I revealed to like the Christmas before my 40th birthday, I revealed to my husband that we sort of couldn't refinance our mortgage that was at 8.5% and mortgage rates had dropped to 6%. And we couldn't do it because our credit score was like 580. And he was like, how is that possible? I was like, oh, I kind of maxed out some credit cards. It was ugly.
You know what? I love this example because it shows
ugly.
that anyone can kind of bomb at any business and turn around and be successful at another one. There's so many components that come together. And when you can align with the right one, success can be yours. And you didn't let, and I have examples of my own, you didn't let that failure or lack of glimmering success stand in the way of what's next for you.
You know what was interesting? What was interesting was the reason that I didn't win in the Mary Kay space was because I wasn't really building a business.
Okay.
I was chasing prizes. I was chasing accolades. I was trying to get that attention need met. Right. So if being seen
the strategy piece, you think the strategy piece was off?
I wasn't building a business. Like even in my head, I wasn't building a business. I was always striving to the next prize. So when you're focused on striving to the next prize, you don't really care how you get there, and you're not really watching your numbers, and you're not really right. Like all I knew was that if I bought X amount of product, I'd win a bumblebee. And so it didn't matter if when we got done, I had like $30-something thousand worth of wholesale inventory on a shelf in a closet.
Oh.
Because I wasn't selling it fast enough, but I was buying it up faster than I could sell it because I was chasing the prizes. So I think one of the things that, and that's in network marketing, but in direct sales. And, sometimes people will blame the company and I'm like, I don't know. They didn't come and swipe my card. Nobody had a pistol to my head. I mean, they advised me, well, just buy it. You can sell it. It's not like buying a TV. So sure, why wouldn't they? That benefits them. And they had no way of knowing whether I was selling it for real or not selling it for real. And prizes were tracked on wholesale and whatever. So I guess the point is that you have to, if you want to be an entrepreneur and you're going to build a business, you really have to understand that whatever your soul wound is, like that's all cool and terrific and fabulous. But if what you're doing as you're building your business is trying to like fill your gateway need or resolve your gateway issue, get a psychiatrist and build a business. So, because that I think is really what tanked the whole Mary Kay thing, was that I was not building a business. And so I mean, here was the dumbest business decision ever made, like in the history of dumb business decisions. If I had been building a business, okay? So when you buy Mary Kay product, you buy it at 50% off and then you sell it at retail. So there's a margin, you keep the 50% margin, okay? If let's just say you were my client and you were ordering $1,000 a year, okay? So I was going to keep $500. That was my margin. That was what I could keep. And all right, let's just take 20% of that and call it expenses. I'm going to keep $400 because you ordered from me. If I say to you, hey, Krista, guess what? If you become a member on my team, you can buy your stuff for half price. What do you say?
Okay.
So
I'd rather buy at half price.
You're going to go buy at half price, right? So you're going to now, instead of spending $1,000 with me and I keep $400, you're going to spend $500 with the company and I'm going to keep 4%. So I repeatedly, in order to win the prize, exchanged $400 in profit for $20 in override.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I grew up and got my head on straight that I was like,
This doesn't work.
wow, that was not smart. That was not like I did. And if I had been building a business and I had understood business and I had had a good business advisor, a coach standing by my side saying, that's a dumb idea. Are you building a business or are you chasing bumblebees? Then maybe things might have been different. But my husband could have done that for me. But since I was hiding it because I really wanted the bumblebees, not the business, it was a show.
So what was the pivot? Like, how did you get from that into becoming the referral diva and really like owning the space that you're in and being so incredibly successful?
So right after all that crazy stuff happened, I threw together the sloppiest resume known to humans and put it on monster.com, secretly knowing that God would never let anyone hire me because I was going to be a national sales director with Mary Kay Cosmetics. So I was going to figure this out, right?
Okay.
My husband referred to it as my pink addiction. So out of the blue, this guy named Brian calls me up and he says, hey, I own a bunch of Sylvan Learning Centers. With your consultative selling experience and your educational background, I would like to hire you to grow my $1 million center in Illinois. And I lived in St. Louis, like in the city. And so I had an interview, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I end up as the center director at this very large Sylvan Learning Center and get through the first year. It's not going well. It was 2005. I'm not really sure what was going on in the market in 2005, but it wasn't, he was like, I make the phone ring, you make the sales. I was like, well, the phone ain't ringing, buddy. So not working.
So what do I do now?
So yeah. But here's what I knew. I was like, okay, I'm a problem solver. And I was like, phone's not ringing. Well, then it's up to me, right? If it is to me, it's up to me. So I said, okay, what can I do? So I started going out and I started networking at schools and I started networking with principals and I started visiting the people that could connect me to the kids. I did free things. I volunteered at fairs. And I was like, you don't have to give me a table or nothing. I'm just going to wear my Sylvan t-shirt and I'll do anything you want me to do. And, so I started creating all these relationships. And because I started creating really good relationships and nice partnerships, we started getting some referrals from the schools, which was really interesting. Then No Child Left Behind was authorized here in the United States. And what that did was it obligated the schools to spend a certain amount of their budget, it's called Title IX funding, this part of their budget to outside tutors, because clearly if the school was failing, then they needed outsiders to come in and fix the problem. Don't get me started on the whole thing. Okay, don't get me started.
That one today.
Don't get me started. That's a whole political conversation, right? But it was an opportunity to go and do good and whatever. And so I go into the city, okay? And I literally stand on the street corner outside elementary schools in the city. Now, we're talking urban America city. So I don't have a lot of influence. I don't know the lay of the land. I don't know where anything is. I don't look like the residents of the city. And I'm doing my Mary Kay thing. Hi, I'm Virginia. I'm with Sylvan. Would you like your baby to get some tutoring? And they're like, no. So
connecting with the audience that was there.
There was no way, right? So I was doing the direct prospecting in person thing.
Okay.
Right? And I called my mentor.
Where they are and
just where they are
talking about it.
They were in 3 feet. They got a flyer, man. So I called this woman. Her name's Teresa Simon, and she was the co-owner of the B&I franchises that my husband and I have later purchased from her and her husband. And I, of course, because I'm a drama queen, I'm like, and I can't get any student. And she's like, you are being stupid. What have you learned in B&I all these years? Go borrow some influence. I'm like, I don't know how. And she's like, yes, you do know how. Go find the people that influence the moms and dads and then make some relationship. So what I did was, I didn't even know this. Jay Facette will be proud of me because I created a mastermind.
Yes.
What I did was I went into the city and I said, hey, you are the director of a food pantry. What do you have that's excess in your world? What do you have what do you have that's a surplus, and where do you have a lack? And so I found stupid things like, well, we got a copier machine, but we don't got no toner. So I would be like, hi, you have a copy machine over there. Does it work? No, it don't work. And I got all the toner, right? So I started bringing people together,
piece of this and a piece of that,
to match surplus to lack, and to start talking about how can we all work together for greater results? Like, how can we together exponentially create better results? And I had a marketing budget. So I just said to my owner, I said, listen, first of all, there was no such thing as social media then. So for all you millennials that are thinking, why didn't they just do Facebook ads? Well, number one, because it didn't exist. Right. And number two, because that wouldn't have worked anyway. We tried radio the first year. We tried print the first year. We tried billboards. Nothing really worked. And I said, you need to give me this budget and you need to let me go do something with it that really, 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 really matters. And so I started working with the community centers, and I started creating these consortiums and these meetings of the mind for people so they could come together and share. And basically at the end of 6 years of doing that, I had gone from having zero presence in the whole space to serving 2,500 children in 52 different schools in it was 2 hours east or 4 hours west. It was like 6 hours end to end was where all my schools were. I hired 9 regional managers, 400 teachers, 19 site managers, and turned in $2.5 million the last year. My last year's revenue was $2.5 million.
That is phenomenal.
Total revenue over the 6 years was just shy of 8 million.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that came from you getting out there and finding the right people in person, building relationships.
Yeah. And being really smart. So this is where, this is kind of what I teach about referrals, right? First thing I knew was that you start to look at, like, what's your tribe? Who do you want to be marketing to? And why do you want to market to them? And I had young elementary school kids. So I was an elementary school mom. So that was a point of commonality. I wasn't African-American. I wasn't from the urban environment, but I did have kids. So my girls went with me a lot. They came with me a lot because that made me a mom. And so it was how could I have something in common with them? Not only that, the added benefit to elementary school kids is they show up to tutoring most of the time and they're happy with a ring pop. So we were good. Like, you could get them there with a Jolly Rancher. Okay. And so since we were getting paid when they showed up, that was just the most lucrative place. So I was able to go to all of my referral partners or my affiliates, right, and say, I just want your third graders. Because they had other people that were giving them things too. So if they had given me all their business, they would have missed out on other things that other people were giving them.
When you somehow get specific, people are like, oh, I can do that.
I can give you that sliver.
I think it's not too big of an ask, but there's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just do that. I love that strategy.
Right. And then from this point, then tribes talk. So a lot of the third graders also had 4th and 5th grade brothers and cousins and whatever. And so it proliferated by their choice. Right? Did I lose you, Krista? Oh, I think I'm here all by myself. So I guess this is really weird. So I'll just keep chatting about this. So I actually determined that by borrowing influence and being really specific about what I wanted to create in the world, people were able to help and kind of jump on board for that. And then that's where all of the referral marketing stuff came in, because it really involves being able to know what your tribe is, understand what their wants and their needs are, what's most important to them, and then to be able to communicate that in a way that makes sense, and then to provide for folks the added value that they need, and then to have a team of people who are vouching for you and also sending you referrals. So that's kind of how that works. Now, I have no idea where Krista disappeared to. So I have no idea what else to talk about. But if you're watching and you want to comment or ask a question, I will answer. I'll answer the question. Aha. So Krista says, just keep going. Gosh, I'm trying to figure what everybody would want to talk about. So how about this? So when you're looking at building out a referral team, one of the things that you want to think about is that people are pretty much what they repeatedly do, right? So it's really easy to know how people are going to behave by watching their actions. it's really rare that people keep 100% of their commitments 100% of the time. So what's most important is that you look at people's actions, and that will determine whether or not they'll end up in reciprocity with you. So what I look at is I try to move people through a relational process where I'm sort of testing the water along the way and not getting into a referral relationship too early. Because if I'm in a referral relationship and I start giving away my reputation, which is my referrals and people from my network, then I start risking a lot of my own authority, my own professional authority or my own professional credibility. So what I do is I meet people when I'm out and about, or I meet people in some sort of a forum, whether that's finding them on LinkedIn and connecting there, or meeting them in a Facebook group, or commenting on Twitter. I'm pretty judicious about that and really try to add value to conversations in groups. And that's kind of how I bring people from the online space into my space. I curate, it had been just like once a month a dinner here in St. Louis, but we're starting to do almost weekly sort of happy hours where people that I meet can come together and we have a little mini mastermind session where it's no selling, no soliciting, and just people getting together to talk again about what they do, who they help, and where they might have excess capacity that they could, or excess resources that they could lend to other people. And so once I find out from people and get to know them a little bit and determine whether or not I like them and I kind of want to do life with them in any scope or whatever, I might have an offline or not a group conversation, but I might, grab a Zoom conversation, or if they're local, grab a cup of coffee or grab a meal or something like that. I generally like to start with a cup of coffee rather than get myself into a whole meal with a new person. And then I just want to get to know them. I want to know what's your personal history, where you've been, what does life look like for you? Are you married? Do you have kids? What are your hobbies? What do you do when you're not working? What's your professional background? Any credentialing, school, anything like that people want to tell me about themselves. And I want to really get to know them as a person. And then I want to get to know a little bit about their business. How long have they been in business? What's their favorite client? Tell me about their favorite client. Tell me a great success story. I'm always asking people to tell me their stories. I don't really want to know the nuts and bolts. I don't really want to know that you have a hammer and 3 different kinds of screwdrivers and 22 different brands of fasteners. I don't really want to know what's in your tool chest. I just kind of want to know how you work with people and what that looks like. And if that feels really good, then I might invite you out for another engagement and say, I think we might have some synergy. Let's get together. And the next time we get together, we can talk about how we might be able to promote one another. So there are basically 3 things that a referral source can do for you. They can promote you. They can connect you to people who have influence with your tribe, or they can refer you to members of your tribe. And where you want to start at is this sort of promotion thing where you say, okay, I'll bring you out on Facebook. We'll live stream a Facebook program or something, or I'll share a meme, or you can be on my podcast, or I'm just going to make you visible to my network in some meaningful way. And then you agree to do that for them. And then once you've both delivered on that, you can try again. So a lot of times people get together at this stage and they start making too many commitments and too many promises, and they can't get it all done. So the best thing to do is to say, here is 5 things I might be able to do for you. Would you just pick the one that would be most meaningful for you? And then go ahead and do it and make sure that you follow through on the commitment. And then you wait to do anything else until that person has followed through on the commitment. If they don't follow through on the commitment, then a gentle reminder, hey, I was wondering, did you have a chance to blah, blah, blah? I did the thing I promised to do for you on Tuesday. So you want to keep in communication. You want to keep them knowing what's going on. You want to keep them in the loop that you've done your part, and then poke them a little bit to do their part. If you cannot get them to do their part, then probably they're just gonna stay in your acquaintance pool. They're really not gonna be a referral source. And it doesn't matter if they have the sexiest network on the planet and they have 50,000 names on their emails, and none of that matters. If they don't follow through on a small thing, they're probably not gonna follow through on a big thing. And that's okay. It just means you haven't built enough relationship with them, or it means, that they just don't follow through on what they say they're going to do, one or the other, but no judgment there, right? But you can't depend on someone who doesn't follow through to follow through. because they didn't. And so it's most important to manage your expectations of people's behavior in your network so that you're not expecting them to do something that they clearly don't want to do, right? If they
that's super important, setting an expectation both for yourself and for them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you have to set your expectations based on what they actually do.
Yes. Like, don't expect too much.
What they're going to do, not what you want them to do, what they actually do.
Yeah.
Right.
And building a referral is not the same as them becoming a part of your sales team. I mean, they're not as interested in you as you would like them to think. You'd like to think they are.
Well,
so keeping that expectation more realistic, and maybe do you incentivize?
Let me get
another
there.
story.
I got 2 more things I want to talk about, but yes and no. So let's
Sorry,
talk
I
about
blanked
that.
out on you.
That's okay. I was just like, what do I do? I'll just keep talking.
Go, girl.
Because girl,
awesome.
That's what I do. So the fourth thing is like, all right, now I'm going to connect you to influencers. So for example, I was at JVology Live, right? And I met Jeffrey Prager.
Yes.
And Jeffrey Prager said, oh my gosh, you need to meet this woman. Here's who she is. Her name's Kathy Demers. She's got this thing called the Business Success Cafe. You absolutely have to meet her. And right then and there, whipped out his phone, did the email introduction, and Kathy and I connected. So we've recorded our Business Success Cafe, which is we're going to do it live. So we did our practice run. So we knew what we're doing. So we've already done our practice run. So when we go live in June, it's going to be beautiful.
That's great.
So she has all my stuff and we're good to go. But then she said, hey, I do this every single week. So if you have anybody that could be on the show, I'd love for your referrals. And I've got like 12 people. So I said, okay, well, here's 12 people I think of. Do you like this person? Do you like that person? Do you like this person? We made a list. And so I'm working my way through connecting her to those people. Pretty simple, right? And those people will be people that can send people to Business Success Cafe. So what it comes down to is you start looking at, well, who can connect me to connectors? Who can connect me to upstream? You know, Jay talks about the upstream and the downstream. Oh, there he is. Hi, Jay.
It's like magic around here. You say his name and it's like rubbing the genie and he pops out. Those are people, I call those your ambassadors. Those are people that connect you in foreign lands. So if I'm in the JVology community, but I go over to the New Media Summit community and I meet some people at New Media Summit community that could be upstream or downstream for you, Krista, and I introduce you, that's kind of an ambassador role. I went to a foreign network and I took your message to a foreign network. Okay. And then lastly, there's this, what I call the affiliate level. And the affiliate level is when referred customers are involved. So how does that work? Well, sometimes does it involve incentivization? Yes, sometimes. Well, no, always. How that incentivization takes form depends on the individual and the relationship. So for example, I have people in my network that refer people to me, but I can't refer people to them. So Jenny Bellinger, she works with rockstar direct sales moms and helps them build badass direct sales businesses so they can stay home and be a great mom to their kids, right? That's what she does. I don't do a lot of business with direct sales people. Right.
Okay. But those direct sales people have businesses. So they often come through my program. Yeah. So we have an incentivization agreement. Okay. Largely what she wants to do is just be in my community.
Okay.
Right. So she doesn't want money, but if she wanted money, I'd give her money. But she's like, I just want to be in your community. Like, I just want to be a coach in your community. I'm like, wait, okay, great, fine, whatever. Right. I just want stage time. I just want, right. Like people will ask you for what they want. And then you just decide if you're willing to give that to them for the output that they're willing to create.
So it's finding what somebody wants. And that's part of just having an open conversation and going, what's of value to you? What works for you? And you're completely right. Not everyone is a good referral source for you. Can you reciprocate or vice versa?
Right. So
sometimes it is a one-way street. So you need to make it somehow feel fair and balanced.
Right. So I have, my people love Connect 365, which is Josh Turner's platform, and they love it. But Josh Turner's people aren't my people. They're like the people that he uses that go to him for link selling and that kind of stuff. They aren't really my tribe. But my tribe loves his stuff. So I'm a downstream of, I'm an upstream affiliate. I'm dropping stuff on him and he's just paying me out the back end like any other affiliate marketer was.
Yeah.
So what doesn't work is give me a name and I'll give you a $25 gift card. That doesn't work ever. Right? Direct TV.
It's transactional. Jay, do you want to pop back in? He's eating.
He's eating.
He came to save the day because when my internet blew and I guess and I couldn't get in, I'm like, hey Jay, you want to go jump in and say hi to Virginia? So,
that's hilarious. Well, I managed for you. I got my phone out. I was like, let me see if I can get. Oh, keep going. Krista just wants me to babble. So there you go. I'm on it.
The right lady for the job.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, and it truly is, and that's what JVology is all about. It's about creating true connections and not being transactional and not having these retail conversations when you can gain so much more from really building relationships and figuring out, like, listening to each other. What do you need? What's going to work for you? And that's what you're obviously so good at.
And let me tell you, there's a third scenario, and this is me. I'm actually on a stool, but I'm going to pretend I'm on a soapbox. So one of the biggest challenges that we have in the information and the coaching industry is that we never truly know if someone is perfect for us unless we have a good long conversation, right? And so when we're in these sort of events and we're like, get up, make a run to the back of the room, buy my crap, this great stack of stuff, right? We don't always know, especially in our high-end programs. And so what I love there are certain people that I love. Your name is now me. That's so cute. It's like
the banner's on one side, so I'll be like, there's me.
There's me.
There's you.
Oh, so much fun. Okay. So my point is that I know there are a lot of high-end, high-dollar coaches that will have a conversation afterwards to make sure that everything goes really well. Well, I had somebody that wanted to sign up for my program, and we finally had a conversation yesterday and figured out at the end of everything that we would make more money together as joint venture co-presenters, like co-creating some stuff than we could ever make if he just gave me money and I just gave him value. So we decided to not do a 5-figure cash deal. Yes, I said no to that. And we decided instead to create a 6-figure opportunity.
Nice. And that came from what? A real conversation, being open, exploring what would work and I'm sure either of those scenarios would work, but it's which is going to be best for both of you and your client base.
Right. And at the end of the day, sometimes we make nickel decisions that cost us the big bucks. And I think when you get into these relationships, you've just got to be really, really clear on who you are, who you serve, what they want from you, and the way that you're going to deliver it. And you need the utmost clarity about that. And then you need absolute utmost clarity about what I would call your social capital funnel, your referral funnel, your affiliate funnel, whatever that is. All of that needs to be cultivated. The message needs to be clear for those people. Here's what my expectations are. Here's how you qualify to be a referral partner or a joint venture partner in my world. All of those kinds of things. And there has to be lots of clarity. And if I say to you, Krista, this is what I need you to do to be a JV partner, and you say, I can't do that, I still love you, I'd rather you tell me no than tell me yes and do nothing, or worse, hurt my brand. So I think there's just the biggest conundrum that comes before collaboration is clarity and communication. So you have to have clarity, you have to communicate, right? You have to collaborate, and then you need to create community.
That's a lot of fantastic C words all wrapped up.
I know.
Do you have a way that we can follow you, Virginia, or you have a challenge coming up, don't you?
I do. I have a Facebook challenge coming up.
Tell us more. We at JVology, we just did a 5-day Facebook challenge. It was incredibly successful. Can't wait to do it again. We actually are going to do it again. And so I want to hear about yours so our audience can know where to do that and what that's going to be all about.
All right. It's the Goals That Matter challenge. I put a bit.ly in the chat. So it's bit.ly / and then all capital letters, GTMIMIN, which stands for Goals That Matter, I'm in.
Oh, okay. I'll grab it.
It's right there in the chat, right?
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm going to transfer it to the chat. Everyone can see.
There you
Hi,
go.
Mustafa. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Mustafa.
Mustafa. I think I said it like the Lion King.
It's all right.
Sorry.
You know?
It's just I'm Lion King.
It does sound a little bit like James Earl Jones.
Apologize.
So here's the deal. When we set goals, most entrepreneurs set goals that repel clients. They make your clients run away from you, Mach 2, hair on fire, screaming. And those goals are really, they're either invented, like, I think 350,000 sounds like a really good number. Yeah, that. Right? Where did that come from? Okay. Or there are some people who are like, oh, I don't set goals. I'm just all about crystal worship and humanity. Well, you can be about that if you want to. I'm okay with that. I have crystals and I love humanity. But if you're going to build a business and I'm the queen of, this is what happens when you don't build it like a business, right?
Right.
You got to have a target, a true north target that you can follow. And then some people set their goals so wrong that they end up in debt. They end up having more month than money every single month after month, and they end up quitting and going to get a job because they're not setting their goals properly. And most goal setting courses will tell you, well, set SMART goals, make them specific and measurable and assignable, which is the A means assignable because it's about who's accountable, who can you make accountable to the goal. When you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, well, that would be you. Can you assign this goal to yourself, right? And then is it realistic? Can it actually be done? And is it time bound? Okay, which means by when will I get it done? But they stop there. And for me, there is a way to set goals that actually magnetizes your clients to you and makes them say to you, I totally want to do business with you. What do you do again?
I love that. I'm all about magnetization. It's like you want to draw them in,
Mm-hmm.
instead of pushing your stuff on them. Pushing. It's like, hey, a little level of intrigue, or like, what's she up to? What does she do? How does she's got it going on. I need more of that.
I need more of that, right? Yeah. Well, and this becomes even less about the person and a lot more about the goal. So it's the actual goal that gets people to look up and say, what? I want to, I'm in on that, right? And so one of the things that's really fun about my challenge is that my prizes are very unique. Ain't nobody out there giving away what I'm giving away. When you so each day you finish your, hi Deirdre, you finish your little assignment for the day. And then we put everybody's name in a coffee mug and we pull out a name and somebody wins a prize. Coolest prizes ever. And my prizes are actually like, they're prizes with a purpose. So
well, you are one who is incentivized by prizes. So I'm sure like that's your little special magic, and we probably have to tune in to figure out what they are.
Yeah, you do. You're going to have to participate. You're going to have to take the challenge. So it's bit.ly, bit.ly, GTM, I'm in. It's down on the bottom there.
Chat. It is in the chat.
Over there in the chat.
It's in the chat. It's on the screen. So
and it starts, you can sign up right now and reserve your place. Elsa, my bot, will contact you. All right,
I gotta go see your bot.
She's cute. She looks just like me. She's in a little corset and a little white blouse and a corset. She's great. And it's really funny. The reason I named her Elsa was because something was going on and I was really mad. And I was like, oh my gosh, people need to just let it go. And then I was like, name it Elsa.
I've got the braid for you.
You do. You
have my Elsa
and you got
braid.
the blue dress on too. Are you going to break into song for me?
I've done the whole let it go strut on stage before.
I love it. Well, yeah. So we named her Elsa just because she reminds me to just like not be. You need a bot? Yeah, call RJ. Call RJ. She'll get you. RJ's the best. And so yeah, so it's really an interactive opportunity. You get to meet a lot of people in the Get Connected community, which is my Facebook group, and we have a really good time. But most importantly is that you'll be at the end of the challenge, you will know the most important number in your business for you to be successful in the next 12 months, for you to have everything you want out of your business in the next 12 months. And that's where we get to. We get to that one critical number that when you walk away with it, you're like, all right, I know exactly what I need to do.
That's incredibly valuable. I have this to post as well. Tell us is that something you want to share, or do we just want to stick on the
Yeah, that's our boot camp that's coming up. We are doing the Business by Referral boot camp, and the boot camp can be accessed at this website right here. What is in the boot camp is this: you get 8 weeks of coaching with me around the issue of defining your tribe, establishing your trusted authority platform, which is really about designing your customer experience from get their attention to get their money to get them to refer to you. So it's how do you move them through all of those stages as an authority, and then building a team of referral partners who will help you triple your opportunity in 1/3 the time it takes you to find your clients using the Elmer Fudd approach. Do you know what the Elmer Fudd approach is?
I'm so glad you're asking.
Be very quiet. I'm hunting for clients. There's that. And then other people use the Dr. Seuss approach. Are you my client? Are you my client? Are you my client? Are you my client? Right? So are you my mama marketing? So when you leave with like everyone in the boot camp really knows about your business, knows what you're looking for, and has an in-depth understanding of what you do. And on the last day, they open their network to you. Now, the next really cool part is we're gonna get together live in person in St. Louis in July. And that is really set up to walk everybody through the networking part of it. How do I grow my network, cultivate my network, leverage my network, and make money with my network? And it's very practical. It is not a pitch fest. I have a couple of guest coaches, and they are coaches in my upper level programs, and they are there to add value to the people in the room while we're there. And everybody gets a VIP ticket. So I feed you the whole time. So I don't have any non-VIP seats.
VIP all the way.
VIP all the way. I have zero of that. Like you have to leave the hotel and whatever. I have everything is taken care of. So it's very very cool.
Most certainly hope and wish and pray that we're all back in action and able to move around by July. All right, you got one.
Yeah, and listen,
I'm sure you've got many.
I'm looking forward to it. So let me just tell you this too. If we don't go live, if we don't go in person in July, we will go live in July, and we will go in person in September. And you'll be able then to do the live, the Zoom one and like the live one. You get to stay with it all the way through until you get to a live event. So I won't claw back the live event if we don't get to do the in-person event. So.
Good. Well, speaking of live events, I've got to plug JVology Live.
Yes.
You have been
three times.
Three times. Mm-hmm. We always have a ball. This will be our very first virtual virtual JVology Live. Just got off another team meeting. We are really going above and beyond to make this virtual experience just as magnetic as our live events, because we are all about connection and relationship. And so creating elements to have teams and gamify and keep those things together and not just make it another Zoom meeting. So there's a 3-day event, JVology Live. Check it out. Michelle Nedlick is popped in to say that's fantastic. I know she's a big fan as well of you.
What are the dates, Krista? For JVology Live and
kick off our evening of June 11th, and then it's the 3 days of June 12 through 14.
Awesome.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Sometimes we get pushed out of our comfort zone, right? So here we are taking to a live event, and at the same time, we know we're going to reach people much further around the globe. Yeah. And so I'm sure you're going to have a lot of success in your challenge as well, because people need what you're offering. This is the time right now to know how to build strategically relationships, how to do it right, how to do it in a way that lasts. And the Referral Diva is the one to do that. So thank you so much, Virginia, for being here with us, for sharing so much knowledge, for continuing to keep talking when my internet blew me out for a couple of minutes. And we'll look forward to your challenge and seeing you around JVology. Thanks for being such a amazing, loyal community member and giving such value at a high level in many ways.
Anytime, my friend, anytime.
Great. So everybody, make sure you are clicking get to check out the boot camp, Master Connectors boot camp, as well as jump into the Facebook. When is the challenge starting, Virginia?
Goals That Matter Challenge, May 26th through May 30th. It starts the Tuesday after Memorial Day, U.S. Memorial Day.
All right. Perfect timing. Time to get signed up now so you'll remember. And I'm sure there's opportunities for people to share with their networks as well. Get as many people on board as possible.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Virginia. Thanks for watching the Ask Me Anything show by JVology. I'm your host, Krista Anakovsky, and I will be back next Monday live again with another phenomenal guest expert from our JVology community. I believe we have Doug Boughton, who is a brilliant young man. Can really talk us everything about this online world, the emails, the internet marketing, and we're just going to blow it up. New conversation, new ways to contribute.
Awesome.
All right. Bye, Virginia. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.
Bye.